Now this is a really special motorcycle that I have for you today. This is the Honda CBR650R, the 2021 model, and the motorcycle it replaces is the Honda CBR650F. Now that was one of my favorite middleweight motorcycles because, well, it was usable. All of that performance was usable for every day. It was a very well-mannered machine, but the whole deal about the CBR650R is the fact that this has lost some of its manners. It's become rash, it's become loud, bold, as you can clearly see, and more sportier than before. At least that's what it looks like. Well, let's find out more. Now let's start with the design of the motorcycle, and right away you can see Honda has pulled off a fantastic job. In my opinion, this is one of the best looking fully fared motorcycles in the Indian market, period. Not only in its segment. That's how good this motorcycle is. At this point, I've driven this motorcycle for a few days, and wherever I have gone, this is nothing short of a head turner. Everybody looks at it. And a big reason for that is, well, this looks like an all-out sports bike, at least from the angle at which you're looking. The reason for that is because this design is very similar to the older generation Honda Fireblade, and that's never a bad thing. It looks fantastic. Also, I want to point out that these two new LED headlamps, they were great in the night, something that was a bit of an issue in the older CBR650F. The LED lighting continues all around the motorcycle, and as is the case with premium Honda motorcycles, the fit and finish of everything is top-notch. Special mention for the seats, as they are very comfortable and the pillion seat is actually usable, something that is not normally the case with fully fared motorcycles. Fun fact, you see these slots next to the headlamps? They're not there just for looks. These are fully functional ram air intakes and hence make for good bragging rights. Now it's not only become sportier in terms of styling, as you can clearly see, but it's also become sportier in the way you sit on the motorcycle. The seat height is same as before, and that means me being 5'10", I can plant both my feet firmly onto the ground, and this is something that a lot of riders will appreciate. But it is the other things in the rider's triangle that have been fiddled about. Let's start with the foot pegs. They're a little bit higher up, little bit rear set, so you have this sporty seating position, and the handlebar, well, you have to reach out to it a little bit now. It's not as comfortable as it used to be in the CBR650F, and that's not a bad thing. It gives you that sporty stance. It's not in league with the proper performance sports motorcycles, so it's not a pain in the back, quite literally. You can still do touring on it. There will be a little bit of a pressure on your wrists, but it is something that you will get used to. The wind deflector on the CBR650R is decent, but it would be better if you put a bigger one on it. Honda has also taken notice and given the motorcycle an up-to-date digital instrument cluster which tells you everything you need to know. If at all, it's a tad bit small and not very fancy, but it doesn't look odd anymore and it does the job, so no complaints. Now the highlight about the CBR650R is definitely the engine that it has. Yes, it's a 4-cylinder engine. It sounds brilliant, but what has changed now is the character of the motorcycle. Now Honda has given it 1000 revs more. And in terms of the change in characteristics, well, below 6000 RPM, this motorcycle is a lot more docile than before. It's a city-friendly motorcycle. You can slot it in 4th gear at about 27 kilometers an hour and get away with your bad roads and get through city traffic. But once you go past the 6000 RPM mark, this motorcycle changes character. It becomes a hooligan. It's like a beast getting unleashed, and it screams. Yes, that was something that the CBR650F owners wanted. They wanted a loud exhaust. Well, this sounds like a proper 4-cylinder motorcycle now. Just don't keep it at 6000 RPM because at that point, there are noticeable vibrations, but above and below that, it's all refinement city. So it looks the part, it sounds the part, and continues to impress in other departments as well. For example, it has non-adjustable Showa upside-down forks at the front, and the entire suspension setup, along with the updated chassis, has improved the versatility of the motorcycle even more. Ground clearance is not an issue either, and the drivetrain is so refined that the bike does not fatigue you at all. There are no riding modes of the motorcycle, as instead, it has the old-school cable-operated throttle, which actually makes for a great connect with the bike. The on-off transitions can sometimes be a little bit harsh, but it is nitpicking really, given how refined the whole experience is. The clutch lever feels light to use, and the transmission is happy to keep up with whatever you throw at it. It does get ABS and also has a traction control system which can be turned off, but the switch for it
is placed at a rather odd position where you would usually have a headlight pass switch. You do have to keep it pressed for a second or so to engage it, so you won't be switching it off or on by mistake. And lastly, the brakes do a good job with ample bite and feedback to the rider. The CBR650R is also quite a lot lighter than before, and a big chunk of it comes from these lighter wheels, which also, in coherence with the updated riding position, has made the motorcycle feel livelier and ready to change directions faster.
So to sum it all up, it's fantastic. I mean, that's as short as I can make it. But what we need to talk about is the price. Yes, this is an expensive motorcycle to buy. There's no two way about it. I agree with you. But what you need to understand is that this is a Honda. So you have two things going for you once you buy that motorcycle and you pay that high initial amount, which is the fact that first, it's going to be ultra reliable. It's a Honda. And second, the owning cost, the ownership, servicing and parts cost of a Honda is one of the best in the country amongst all premium motorcycles, and Honda has built a reputation on top of it. So you need to keep in mind when you consider the price aspect of this motorcycle. Having said that, if price is not an issue for you, I think the CBR650R is one of the best middleweight motorcycles that you can buy.